Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for your support of Indie Agency News. And let's meet an indie agency. And we are bringing our friend Adam Katz in, the founder and chief creative officer of Company Policy. Hello, hello, hello. You got the facial hair I could only dream of. Let's be honest.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
I mean, it grows in crop circles, and then it's just, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. So what do you do for Movember?
I had participated that in the past. There is somewhere, somehow online, some kind of clip of me a long time ago participating in whatever Regis Philbin show was, where we were getting shaved, me and a bunch of other people
on the show.
On the show, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Claim to fame. Okay.
Yeah. Right. But I don't think I've ever seen it, so maybe it exists, maybe it doesn't. I don't really know.
It maybe exists, and maybe it doesn't. Yeah, that was a terrible Regis impression. It's me doing Dana Carvey trying to do Regis poorly. So let's talk about the agency, where you're located and when you were founded.
Sure. We're located. We're based out of New York, but actually we operate sort of globally. We have some team members who are based in Canada, in Toronto and Montreal. A couple who are based in the UK, but predominantly we're located in New York. We were founded in 2021. I have to think about that sometimes. And yeah, I mean, we've been around now, I guess, for almost like 2.5 years, which sometimes feels short and sometimes feels long.
It's like raising a kid. The only piece of unsolicited parenting advice I give for parents, and this probably is accurate for agency founders as well, is the days are long, but the years fly by.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's
exactly how it feels. Now, where did you come from before this?
Yeah, so I've been working in and around branding and marketing for the better part of 15 years. I spent the bulk of my career working in-house at Google, where I sort of like learned, I feel like, a lot of different things about how to do narrative storytelling with branding, how to really launch and put things out in the world very quickly. But more importantly, I think really about how to like speak to people and communicate with people just in general. After Google and before that, I'd spent time in various agencies, sort of studios, in-house, external. And then recently, before starting the studio, I was running a team within Media Monks, which was an agency. So that was a chaotic year of my life, I'd say.
Well, yeah, Media Monks. You've got, Wesley Tenar.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Good old Wes. Yes. I don't know if he goes by Wes. Probably goes by Wesley. I'm being overly formal. Sorry, Wesley Tenar. So let's. It's early in the game for you, but agencies are definitely known for something. What would you say your agency is best known for up to this point?
Yeah, interesting. I think our most famous, it feels like I'm talking about like my greatest hits or something. Or
that's all right.
Essential album or something. But I think the thing that we're probably most known for is probably one of two things. One is a brand that we helped create, a rebrand recently called Honeybook, which is big within sort of like the creative community of independent contractors and independent professionals, photographers, DJs, anybody who's sort of doing something creative that's running a business. They have to do the paperwork, etc., contracting, everything. And Honeybook really helps with that. They had been around for about 10 years, and we helped rebrand them very recently. So that's sort of, I guess, one project, which shows maybe more of our like full brand scope way of doing things. And then the other project I think we're fairly well known for, which wasn't just us, it was created by a massive army of people. But we were happy to play a role in the Airbnb categories campaign, which is still going now at this point, I believe, in major cities kind of across the world. So that was a fun one that we got to be a part of.
Yeah, that's solid work. And that's the thing, is a reminder that agencies dig into so many different things, and it's so varied. And so when you look at a brand like Airbnb, you're thinking, oh, well, you're doing like the top of the line stuff. It's like, no, well, there are all these myriad things that happen within a brand, especially like that, which is an experience-based brand, that I have to imagine are incredibly interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really well-run creative organization just in general. I mean, it was founded by creatives, which I think really really they bring that into everything that they do, even from the way that they approach like a business model in general.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's really true. Agencies and studios, like I think, do a whole slew of things, and it's hard to sort of like position yourself or pinpoint that like, hey, we only do X as like specialists.
Right.
Definitely come more from the generalist world. But I think everything that we touch and the way that we sort of like to kind of group all those things together, even if it's something as diverse as like a package design versus like an advertisement or something, is that it's all essentially brand building and brand growth. And that's really where our specialty is. We always are sort of thinking about whatever we're doing is like, it's going to have multiple touch points for people. Like they're going to have to see it from somewhere or come to it from somewhere, whether that be like a predetermined idea of what the brand could be, which happens to be like what Airbnb is. Everyone knows it. But when you see a campaign, you already have this like long sort of history of what Airbnb was.
Yep.
And on the other side of that, like, where is this going? Like, where am I going to leave the person off? And so, for instance, with the campaign side of that, like, did the digital experience meet them exactly where they sort of like came off from the billboard or the big ads that they were sort of seeing in the world?
Yep. The good old pull through. You'd mentioned a couple of great projects. What would you say, and you mentioned that you are a little bit of veering more into the generalist space, but what would you say are the 3 top core strengths of the agency in the studio?
For one thing, we are, as far as strengths go, I would say that we are extremely flexible and extremely, I guess I'll group these into kind of one thing is flexible and authentic. We are always able to sort of like bend to whatever sort of timelines there are. We're very, adjustable as far as that goes. We're really flexible with our deliverables. Even like we, it's part of the reason, honestly, why I got into creative endeavor just in general is like, I wanted to do things that I didn't know necessarily how to do always. So I think we love taking on those meaty challenges that we're just not even sure exactly how we're going to do it, but we're going to figure it out. And then you said 3, so I'm thinking the other 3.
Well, I mean, we do the rules of 3. I mean, it works in comedy. It works here too.
The second one, I think, is just our attention to detail and craft. Like we really care about, making brands that are sort of going to last the test of time. And I think you really do that with craft and care. So we're really big into typography and things like that, and just making sure everything is really sort of like finessed. And then the third thing, as I sort of mentioned before to you about like the Airbnb campaign and the way that we approach brands in general, is we're really good systems thinkers. So we're always really thinking through, even if you ask us to do sort of like one small thing, like say you ask us to put together a social media ad or whatever, we're always thinking about the system and the user experience of like where somebody got to and like where they're going next, and trying to think about how the brand is going to like, be sort of consistent across all of those aspects of a brand story or a brand narrative. And we try to bring that into anything that we ever do.
That's cool. I like that. And it's very specific, but it also has room to breathe as well. Let's talk about being an indie. And so your experience, you've been all over the place.
Yeah.
You've been at a big company like Google, and now you are an indie. Why is it so important to be independent, specifically for your team?
Yeah. For one thing, like, as I mentioned, sort of having a team that's all around the globe is just flexibility. We really, and I'm sure this is probably the story that a lot of creatives probably have had from being in other, either some agencies or big places, is the burnout factor is real. So I think staying independent and staying small and nimble is really exciting for us, just from like a work-life balance that we always want to bring into everything that we do. We're really keen to like give people the time and space, because also that's something that I firmly believe in as sort of the founder, is like some days you really have it and some days you really don't as far as creativity goes. So you need to allow that flexibility to, sometimes step away or, sometimes kick it over to somebody else for a little while. And that really is the collaborative process that I think is really important with the independent mindset. And then I think like the other thing that's really important about staying independent to us is like, there's a little bit of a sense of like the punk rock. I think we're by no means punk rock, nor do I even really love punk rock that much. But I think I really resonate with that sort of like mindset of, oh, everybody else is doing this. we want to do something different and we want to do it our way. And
Right.
hopefully the people that care about the way that we're doing things and the world that we want to build essentially are going to follow along and, be our partners, be our clients, etc. And thus far, I mean, I've been really fortunate that we've been able to find those people, I think, which is great.
Right. And I like it's interesting you say punk rock, because there was an agency in London many years ago founded called Mr. President, and Laura Jordan Bomback, our friend, founded that agency. And one of the things that she said was the punk rock sensibility, and it actually was infused in a lot of the work that they had done, especially in the early days. But I get it. I get the sentiment of it. You don't strike me as a CBGB's kind of guy.
I got to go, unfortunately, now. I think I overlapped with it in New York by like 2 years, but by that time, I don't think it was playing.
CBGBs will always be there in our hearts. Let's go with that. Let's talk about why a brand should work with you. You've touched on a lot of things here that I think are, if I'm a CMO, if I'm a marketer, I'm thinking, all right, ticking that box, ticking that box, ticking that box.
Yeah.
But what would be a main reason that a brand should work with the agency?
Yeah, it's a good question. The brand that I think should work with us and why they should work with us really is somebody who really wants to be immersed in the process a little bit. They're not looking for, to send a brief over the wall per se, figuratively, and then like get stuff back 6 months later or however long the project is going to take, or, a very formalized presentation meeting, sort of like, delivering this very sort of like polished something or something that, maybe didn't get sort of like their hands dirty in a little bit. We work a lot with founders. We work a lot with like CMOs and work a lot with sort of, creative teams also. Mm-hmm. And I think that the joy in that and like the real success that we find is just, like I said, those people who don't want to follow sort of the typical way that things are done, as I sort of expressed again before with like the punk rock mindset, but people who sort of like want to be in on the process. Like I said, and we're really big believers in that, is like, we're not experts in your business as the agency side of things. We're going to do research and spin up as fast as we possibly can. But chances are, if you're working at a company or if you founded the company, you're going to have a ton more knowledge than we're going to have. So we want that sort of back and forth dialogue. And we want to sort of like, send creative ideas and work in progress things to you. We let sort of some of our clients, not all of them, but like some people essentially into files to sort of like take a peek, etc., add their thoughts. We don't work towards formalized presentations and things like that. We want to be much more sort of like ad hoc and be more communicative with people that we work with.
Play a little jazz. I mean, I point to somebody like Fernando Machado and just in general, and specifically Burger King, where it was like the WhatsApp chat was blowing up with ideas. Yeah. And it landed on a lot of interesting stuff. And there are a lot of other marketers out there and CMOs that do like that. And understanding that it's, it may constitute maybe 10 to 20% of their job, but understanding that as a partner, and I use that term very seriously, being a partner, you're thinking about that thing 100%, and placing that trust in you and any agency is really important. Let's move on to talent. Mm-hmm. And you'd mentioned that you're spread out a little bit. Why should talent put you on the list?
Oh man, why should talent? Well, I mean, for one thing, you get a free T-shirt when you work with us.
Okay, sold.
We even put that on our website for like, sending resumes and stuff. Is like, if selected, you'll get a free. But anyways, why should talent work with us? Is just that we are extremely flexible, for one thing, as I already mentioned to you. Like, we are not, I'm not a person who sort of is like, I want you on the clock. We even put on our website, like, I think 9 a.m. to 6-ish is sort of our hours. Like, we just sort of, we just want to get the work done, really. And that's not to say that, like, you'll never find us at 3 o'clock on an afternoon or anything like that. That's not what we're saying. It's just like, if things are sort of like feeling pretty good and we're in a good place, like we're more flexible with like, okay, yeah, cool, go do that thing that you want to do. So that's one thing that I think is pretty massive with recruiting talent and why people should try to or want to work with us. And then This sounds so cliche. I feel like I would never say this, but here I am sitting here saying this is like, I just think we really actually like have a good time when we're doing what we're doing.
There's nothing wrong with saying that.
But
And it's not, why would you complain about saying that?
I don't know. It sounds sort of like what I'd imagine in like a very cheesy recruiting brochure or something like that with like people smiling. But dude. No, I mean, we really do. Like, I mean, there are no egos on our team. We are not all about like, you know, putting our name huge and your name very tiny, or like that's just not the way that we work or the way that we care about. We also tell all of our partners, like our clients and our partners that we work with, like our goal always is not to build our own portfolio and make things like we want to make obviously like really beautiful things that we see in the world. Right. But if it's not solving the client's problem, then it's not a portfolio piece to us because it's just not working. Even if it is a really beautiful design or something like that. So I think that ethos also sort of like comes into the way that we approach and do work, which is just sort of like really flexible. We're really collaborative with each other in the early stages, you know, even though we're in separate continents and for some people in countries, zones, etc. We try to at least have a couple of sessions like every once in a while where we're really coming together and, you know, brainstorming or working on things. And we're using modern technology as best as possible to do that too, just with like Figma and Slack. I mean, we also like, I'm a big believer too, because I've been abused on Slack as far as like constantly having to sort of like respond to things. We don't treat it like that. We treat it as more of sort of like a conversation piece.
It's a placeholder.
Yeah. Then like a place to like really get like tight work done, I feel like.
Yep. No, I get it. Final question. This is a bit of a thought experiment. Whether it's a current client or one you'd love to see the agency engage with. Let me use some corporate speak for you there. Who is a marketer or CMO that you would like to say hello to?
Oh, man. Good question.
There's got to be like one or two out there that you're like, you know, it might be nice to meet her.
Well, I mean, I definitely have my, like, I would say less about like the CMO side of things, but more like the brands that I aspire to.
All right, well, hit me.
Well, I mean, I think on the big brand level, two that come very top of mind that like we're very eager to work with in some capacity is like, and they're just really strong brands, really great freeing brands. So there's like quality work and quality people there as well. As like we're just keen to work at some point with the Apple of the world and the Nike of the world, which I think is probably on a lot of people's radars. But for us, I think more specifically with each one of those, the most exciting thing I could possibly ever imagine working with both of those is like launching a new, it's not necessarily a brand, but launching either like a new thing with them. So whether that be, like, for instance, the headset that just kind of came out from Apple, or the fact that Apple is, you know, doing Apple classical music or something like that. Like that's a brand new thing, I feel like, from them. That would be really exciting, I think, on our side of things. And as far as the CMOs go, he's not a CMO, but the name that like honestly very quickly kind of comes top of mind to me is like the Mark Cuban of the world, who's doing the thing. Like I just sort of feel like that's the perfect client in some respects to us, because he just doesn't really want to do things that everybody else is doing. For one thing. And then also, I mean, we care about the world that we're building. So like doing really good for the world is something that we really care about. So, I mean, I know he's not a CMO, but that's like the type of.
No, I get it. Yeah. I mean, he's a marketer. He's a very good marketer.
For sure. Yeah.
I just wish he weren't a Dallas Mavericks fan or owner. But what are you going to do? Are you a Knicks fan?
I do not really care about basketball, to be honest, which is
okay. That's fine. That's fine.
No, that's fine. I'm a 6'3" waste of. Yeah,
you would have been great at the two. All right, no, that's fine. Adam Katz, thank you so much for joining us. This was great, and really great insight into where you've started as an agency, where you are as an agency, and where you're headed. And our best wishes for continued success.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was fun.